What's going on, guys? This is the Brigade once again, and we're back at it with a little Killzone Shadow Fall. Alright, so the PS4 was released, got the launch titles, got a few games, and we are ready for PS4 uploads. Now, this is going to be a relatively short video, right? I didn't really have anything in particular in mind, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about Killzone, and I'm going to talk about what I plan to do with regard to future Killzone uploads. Alright, now, first and foremost, do not base your decision to get a Killzone game off some of the reviews that you're hearing, right? Because despite me being a fan of the franchise, you know, I checked out some of those reviews and I'm kind of like, okay, now this is like so off base, it's almost ridiculous. Now, I'm not saying that you should put faith, you know, all this faith into what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you know, I know a lot of guys, they base their decisions heavily on reviews. But see, there's a lot of games out there that were given mediocre reviews, but are actually good games. There are a lot of them out there, and I think Killzone is one. Now, to be fair, I haven't even started the single player, right? And I don't even think I will start the single player, because I think it is fair to say that, you know, if it's a first-person shooter title, then the focus is more so on the multiplayer and not necessarily on the single player. So, you know, some of the views where they're talking about the story, the personalities, and everything that goes on in the single player, I can't even identify with it because, you know, I play first-person shooters for the multiplayer. I don't really care anything about the story. The story may be cool, the story may be exciting, but just as I did with Killzone, you know, and I do other first-person shooter games, as soon as I put the disc into the console, I went straight for the multiplayer option. Alright, but I mean, you know, if you guys are kind of like into the story and you want to know the background and all of that, then go check out a review that talks about the story. Me, myself, I'm going to talk solely about the multiplayer, which I think is awesome. Now, there are a lot of guys who are either coming from Xbox and they just decided to invest in a PS4, or had a PS3 but are new to the Killzone franchise, right? And because of that, you know, perhaps they may be Battlefield fans or Call of Duty fans, and they have the same expectations for Killzone that they would have specifically for Call of Duty, because at least Battlefield, it's objective oriented. Alright, you have objectives. It's not just about getting as many kills as you can. Yes, it's good to get a lot of kills, but the focus, you know, the multiplayer is specifically tailored and oriented toward completing objectives. And the degree to which you work toward that end, I would argue, is the degree to which you will have more and more fun. And the main reason why I point that out is because I've been on a lot of the Killzone streams, right? And I hear a lot of guys who came from Call of Duty, they'll say, you know, you can't do these 360 turns, right? You can't move as fast. You know, I get clobbered and I don't really know what to do. Well, the thing is, you cannot play Killzone like you play a Call of Duty game. Call of Duty game, you know, is more like you just get in there, you focus on, you know, your kill-death ratio. You focus on trying to get as many kills as you can. You're working on getting your multiplayer, your kill streak man, I'm messing this all up. Your kill streak multipliers. Okay, finally got it out. But Killzone is not that type of game, right? So if that's what you're looking for, you might want to think twice. This game is mainly about completing objectives, and they have several types of objectives. So you have to think a little more. It's not just randomly running around and shooting people. For example, you have the support class. With the support class, you have the option to heal. You can to revive down players. You have airbots that you can deploy. You have land turrets, just like I'm laying right here. that you can in place, and then you have a supply box that you can lay down for some of your teammates. The assault class, for the most part, I mean, you just have all the run and gun weapons, which they are good, in my opinion, mainly for attacking objectives. Now, granted, you will get a lot of kills with that assault class, but the main focus of the assault class is to attack the objectives, because with the weapons that they have, you know, a lot of them are extremely strong. They have very low recoil, right? So they can get in there and, I mean, they can just engage anybody. Whereas the support class, they have pretty good weapons, but they have a higher recoil. So they're not really meant to get in there and just, you know, all out war and try to destroy as many people as they can. Right now, I'm not saying you won't get a lot of kills, because you will, but the focus is different. The support role that comes with the support class is, I mean, more oriented towards supporting. Whereas the assault is more a hands-on type deal, right? And I'll talk about a lot of these things a little later. But I'm just kind of going to explain the difference between a lot of guys who are coming from Call of Duty and they're trying out this launch title of Killzone Shadow Fall. So with regard to the multiplayer itself, it's beautiful. The graphics are great. And keep in mind, I hope and none of you guys are kind of judging the graphics based upon YouTube uploads, because YouTube have limitations. What you may see in the video, and it doesn't matter how clear you may think the quality is of any PS4 game that you see, YouTube has limitations, right? And you won't see the most potential by watching a YouTube video. You can only experience the quality by getting a PS4 yourself and putting in any game, not just Killzone, but any game. But when I tell you that these environments are awesome, please believe that these environments are awesome. There's so much detail. I mean, they're a lot larger than the Killzone 3 maps. As a matter of fact, I would argue that they're kind of closer to Killzone 2 maps, because a lot of the Killzone 2 maps were quite large. And they have everything, right? If you want to be an assault type of guy, I mean, they have all these areas that you can explore. If you want to be a little more tactical, specifically like with the scout class, they have all types of corridors, elevated areas. They have everything for you. So if you just want to run and gun, they have straight line paths. If you want to be a more tactical and snipe out of the distance, you can shoot through window. You can do anything in this game, specifically in the multiplayer. And like I said before, none of the comments that I'm going to have with regard to Killzone Shadow Fall will relate to the single player. I haven't even played it, right? And I don't think I will, right? And it's not because of any reviews or anything. It's just, like I said before, multiplayer games for the most part focus on the multiplayer aspect, not the single player. So I don't really care too much about it. But this game is beautiful. So I would suggest for anyone who decides to get a PS4, go ahead, get the game, and give it a try. Now, if you're new to the Killzone franchise, you know, perhaps you're coming from Battlefield, maybe Call of Duty or something, give it at least a full week, right? And then, you know, after you give it a full week, I can almost guarantee you'll get, you know, because there's a different learning curve, right? It's not one of those things, like I said before, because it's not really a huge learning curve when the focus is just killing, right? There's really nothing to learn. You don't have to be strategic for the most part. I mean, it's almost like I see you first. You know, I have aiming assist. I mean, you're babysat for the most part. You're not babysat with Killzone. There's no aiming assist, right? So I don't know if you guys have been watching any of the YouTube videos on Killzone, but there's no aiming assist. So wherever you put that reticle is where it's going to be. It's not one of those things where, you know, you kind of get an assisted adjustment. It doesn't come like that. All right, so if your aiming is bad, you're going to miss. Recoil. It's not one of those games where you're popping off a fully automatic weapon and there's no recoil. That is not realistic. You will get recoil in Killzone. As a matter of fact, a lot of the assault weapons, they have a lot less recoil than some of the, let's just say, support class weapons. right? And that's one of the other advantages that the assault class have. Now, the assault class, those weapons are so good that not only can you attack objectives, but you can also get a lot of kills. So, if just getting a lot of kills is one of your things, I would suggest for you to go ahead and tackle the assault class, right? That way you can satisfy two things, right? You can attack the objectives to help the rest of the team out, and you can get a lot of kills. There's a lot less recoil on a lot of those weapons, and hey, I mean, you just got to be honest, a lot of those assault class weapons are actually really powerful, right? So, like I said before, you kind of have something for everybody. Now, they also have muzzle flash on the game, which I've heard some people complain about it, but it's not really a big deal to me, right? The muzzle flash is not a big deal. The recoil is not a deal, but I mean, I've been kind of used to the recoil since previous Killzone titles. So if you're kind of like one of those guys and you've been playing one of those first-person shooters and you could just pop off with a fully automatic machine gun and you expect for there not to be a recoil, you might want to think twice. This is a lot more realistic, right? All those fancy dancy tricks you can do with Call of Duty where you're just jumping in the air and do 360-degree turns and shooting behind you and all of that, you will not be able to do that, right? And I've also heard some people talk about the game feels heavy. Well, if you're coming from one of those, like I said before, and I'm not ragging on Call of Duty, I'm just kind of pointing out some of the differences. That's one of those things that comes with Killzone. It's been like that with Killzone 2. The feel was increased in Killzone 3. And I would say that it's been somewhat tweaked in Killzone Shadow Fall. But like I said before, I'm used to Killzone, so I know the way it feels. Right? Does it feel heavy? I mean, not really to me. And not only that, you can adjust the settings. When you first put in the game, right, the sensitivity of the X and Y axis is at 50%, right? So you can also increase it up to 100%, right? So if you don't like some of the feel, you can go ahead and adjust those settings in your options or controller menu. So what am I going to do with regard to Killzone Shadow Fall uploads? Well, seeing that there are a lot of people who will be new to PS4 or who may be new to the Killzone franchise, I'm going to do a series that's kind of along the lines of Killzone for Noobs or Killzone Multiplayer, a basic training, right? And I'm going to focus largely on talking about tactics, talking about approaches to attacking objectives based upon the class that you're using. I want to talk about a lot of these things because, I've been playing a lot of these games and I notice I can almost guarantee, right, and a lot of these experiences I've had, I say, you know what, these guys are used to just getting in here and just doing team death matches because they are not attacking the objectives. They don't care anything about the strategic placement of spawn points. They don't care about anything. They just want to get in here and run and gun. So what I'm going to do is a lot of the upcoming videos that I'm planning to put forth for Killzone Shadow Fall is basically going to be a Killzone for noobs, specifically for the support class, specifically because I experimented for the most part with the support class and the assault class for the first week that I had the title. And if you're going to play support, your focus has to be a lot. Well, actually, I wouldn't say your focus. Your approach to the multiplayer definitely has to be a lot different than what your approach might be for assault. And that's because your role is different. You're in the supportive role, right? You're there to revive your team. You're there for laying turrets, to suppress your opponent. You're there for a lot of tactical things, so you kind of have to think about it. It's not just run and gun and you just laying the turrets down randomly anywhere, or you just go ahead and put your airbot anywhere, or you're just throwing down your spawn, your spawn beacon anywhere. No, you have to think about a lot of these things. So the Killzone for Noob series is going to focus on a lot of things because, a lot of times when you're kind of new to a game and you have no other information, you know, there may be some things that you may overlook or you may not have considered. So I hope that through these commentaries, these future commentaries, through analyzing the multiplayer by paying close attention to it, all the people who are out there playing can have a better experience. Now, one thing that I don't like up to this point is that for some odd reason, they don't have squads and they don't have clans. Why did Guerrilla Games do that? I do not know. We had squads and we had clans in both previous Killzone games. We had it in Killzone 2 and we had it in Killzone 3. Why these guys decided to take it out, I do not know. Now, I can almost guarantee, because I've been on the forums and guys have been talking about this, that's one of the main problems that a lot of people have with the Killzone game. That they took out the squads and that they don't have clans. So I can imagine within the next month or two that they're going to patch that. They're going to change that real quick. Because like I said, I've been on those forums and a lot of guys are really pissed off at that. So, seeing that more than likely they're going to go ahead and add those things, I think that's going to be even better for the Killzone for noobs. Because one thing that I'm going to do for a lot of you guys that plan on getting a PS4 and also making an investment into Killzone Shadow Fall, I'm going to come up with my own clan like I did with Killzone 2. And similar to the clan that I was a part of in Killzone 3. Shout out to all the guys from Veritas Gaming. Right, shout out to Bandito Games. He was he was in one of my clans in Killzone 3. So when the clans come out, I think these uploads are going to be even better, because I'm going to explore maps. We're going to talk about, just some kind of areas for consideration with regard to laying down your spawn, beacons, everything. So that's what the channel is going to be about. That's what you guys can expect for at least the next few months. And keep in mind, for a lot of you guys that are into the Souls games, I haven't forgot about Dark Souls. I definitely will continue to upload. What's that? What do we have? Like 3 months now until Dark Souls 2. But my time with regard to Dark Souls videos is just about up. Like I've said before, I've dedicated 200 plus videos to that game. I've talked about pretty much everything. I've done pretty much everything that I could possibly do. And I just really think the game has run its course. Now, every now and then I'll visit the streams just to stop by and say hello. But for the most part, I haven't really done anything. As a matter of fact, I haven't played Dark Souls, I think, I would say in a few weeks. Now, I think about 2 weeks ago I uploaded 2 videos. But that was from previous weeks, right? That was from fights from previous weeks. So, I will continue to... I can't even say that. Actually, I won't say it. The only thing that I will say is I'm going to take a short little break from Dark Souls. But I'll definitely be back for Dark Souls 2. So if you guys... if the focus of your subscription to my channel is strictly because of Dark Souls videos, just go ahead and check out a few of these. Hopefully, if you plan to get a PS4, hopefully some of the commentaries that I'll add and upload, they may be of interest to you, and perhaps we can get on squads, we can get on teams, and maybe even be in the same clan should you get this title. Alright, so that's about it. That's enough for the first video. I think I did enough rambling. Just expect in future videos for them to be more focused on Killzone for noobs. Alright guys, and until next time, Martyrs Brigade is out.
The VSA were only able to destroy one target. Objective successful. Objective alert. You need to locate target area and wire for destruction. Then defend the area until detonation. Now, chart set.